So today I'm back on the Lemons car. It's a '06 six-cylinder that we were going to race in the 24 Hours Lemons. Last time I was working on this engine, I noticed that the rear diff was leaking. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the diff fluid out of there and reseal it and everything, put some new fluid in there because we don't want that seizing up when we're doing a race. Quick update on the car. So the interior has been gutted out of there. The front windshield's been taken out because this thing is going to get a cage very soon. So all the interior is out of it. We got the race seat in there, new shift knob. So it's starting to feel like a real race car. So whenever I do diff work, I prefer to jack up the back end and let the axle sag. So I got the jack stands on the pinch weld there, and the rear diff is sagged down. All right, it's up underneath the car here. I've got 10 bolts. They look like 13. I think they're 13s. Yeah, 13. So it looks like something hit the diff cover here and kind of pushed up. That's probably where it's leaking from, but it's definitely leaking out of here. So I'm going to flatten that out once I get it off of there. So take these 10 bolts off. I'm hoping that this panhard bar, I'm hoping I'll get the cover off without having to remove this panhard bar, but we'll see. Okay, so I got them all out except for the top one. That's to hold it, so when I pry this thing off, all the fluid will come out and the cover won't flop everywhere. So let's see if I can pry this thing off here. And now I'm gonna see if I can get this cover off of here without having to take the panhard bar off. Oh yeah, easy. Okay, so I got the cover off, and looks like it's probably leaking from the bottom part here. Somebody's probably been in here. I just realized it didn't have the little tag on here. It usually would have a tag with differential information in there, telling you like what gears it has in it and whatnot. But this is definitely open gears. So it looks like somebody has been in here. There's paint markings here, so these gears or this diff has been replaced, or somebody's been in here for something. I'm trying to find out what gears it has in it. I'm thinking they're like 273s, and they usually say on the ring here. So I'm going to try and turn this around and see if I can see any markings on there. I found a marking on here. It says 331, so this is probably 331 gear set in here. All right, so from this angle I can see that the pinion gear also has 331 on there, so I'm going with 331. So now while it's down here too, you want to there's some fluid that's going to be on the bottom here. This fluid actually doesn't look too bad. I don't know when this was changed, and I don't feel any chunks or anything down in here. By the way, this gear oil smells delicious, and if you don't like the smell of it, you might want to wear some gloves because it will linger around and stay with you. There's a little bit of rust down here on the bottom. I'm going to spray that with some PB Blaster and hit it with a little scrub pad. I'm going to go around with this razor blade here and get any of the remnants of the RTV off. Obviously, well, when doing these, cleaning these differentials, there's no gasket that goes on here. There's a company called Lube Locker that makes a gasket for differentials, and they work really well. Use them in like the off-road communities, but most of the time people will just put new RTV on here. And when you're doing it, you really want to pay close attention to this bottom half for obvious reasons. The fluid, hangs out down here, and if this bottom part doesn't seal well, it's going to leak all over the place. So you really want to pay attention to the bottom half when cleaning this thing. All right, so I got it all cleaned up. I got scooped out some of the oil from the bottom. Whoever did this last didn't use very much RTV, which is great for cleaning because it's not very difficult to get what little bit is left on there. However, it could have contributed to why it was leaking. So yeah, when you put a bunch of RTV on here, it can look like garbage. and it makes the cleaning process a lot harder. However, you have a better chance of sealing this in there. So take it for what it's worth. If you want to put a bunch of RTV on here, you're probably not going to get any leaks. If you do too little, you might possibly get leaks. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the diff cover and the bolts. Going to clean those all up. All right, so I got the cover cleaned up pretty good. It does have this little printout on there, which I kind of wiped some of it off with the PB Blaster, but it does say 331 on there. So I cleaned up really good. Before I take this over there to put on, I'm going to do some scientifically proven modification to this thing to flatten it out. All right, modification complete. Looks like there's a little bit more surface area right here to keep the fluid from coming out of there. Speaking of fluid, I'm going to use Redline 75W140, and to make the seal on there, I'm going to use Permatex Ultra Black. Okay, before I put any RTV on here, I'm going to spray it down with some brake cleaner and then wipe it off real good. And I'm going to do the same to the diff cover. All right, now I'm going to take my RTV and just do a thin coat all the way around this thing. Okay, I also put a thin coat on the inside of the diff cover here. And so I'm going to ease that thing up into place. And these bolts get torqued to 20-25 foot-pounds. So one thing I didn't mention before I put this on there is, RTV is, once it's exposed to air, it starts vulcanizing. So you can leave this open for, a couple of minutes just to let the RTV to start to solidify. Plus I'm going to wait a little bit before I fill this with fluid to let that RTV cure. And when you're torquing these, you can do them in like a star pattern, just kind of evenly run them down. All right, while I'm down here, I saw these little weights on here. And sometimes Ford puts those on there just for like NVH or vibrations or whatever. But some models don't have them, and they're just extra weight. So I'm gonna go ahead and take them off if I can. I took those counterbalances off the axles, and they weigh 9.43 pounds. It's almost 10 pounds. That's crazy. All right, a correction on the torque specs. These are actually torqued to 33 foot-pounds. I checked the service manual. Guess that's what you get for listening to Google. All right, on the front of this differential, there's a little fill plug on here. I'm going to remove that. All right, so the service manual says 1.5 quarts or until a 1/2 inch from the fill plug if it's on level ground. So I'm going to use this little pump. I got a new pump because I couldn't find my other one, but ironically I found it after I got this one. But I'm going to give this one a shot. This is a Slippery Pete fluid pump. So I'm going to pump in here until my arm starts cramping up. Hopefully I can get 1.5 quarts in there before that happens. All right, that little pump worked pretty good. Now I'm going to put the plug back in there. This gets torqued to 22 foot-pounds. All right, so there we go. It's all done. Let it sit for a couple hours. If you want to do it correctly, I want to say the Permatex says let it sit for up to 24 hours for it to fully cure, but I don't want to wait that long. Either way, it's done. I haven't seen any leaks yet, but we'll see. Everything's torqued down. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to see more videos on this car.